Good morning, hello, and happy Thursday. Yes, I almost said Monday there, which hopefully isn't a sign. Sitsu, hello. How are you doing today? Happy Monday. Yeah, happy Monday. Thursdays are nice because they're like one day until Friday. Fridays are nice because well, it's essentially the weekend. Happy Monday. Yes, you probably could. I am a little bit tired today. So there is we can probably turn this into a Twitch meme, right? Where we just go into a random streamer's stream and then just keep on saying happy Monday and see if you can get enough people to say it that we just convince everybody that it's a Monday on a Thursday. The best one would be if we could convince somebody it's a Monday on a Friday. So that way later on when they look it up, it's like an actual amazing, like, oh, this is the best day ever because it's not a Monday. It's actually a Friday. All right, today is going to be something slightly different, or at least we're starting with something slightly different, and we're going to see how long we can get until we start needing to go back into coding again. But we're getting to the point where it's time for us to start like planning for and building the course, and then as I build the course, then I'm gonna want to I'm probably gonna find little bugs. I'm gonna find little things to sort of update with the LMS, and so that we're gonna move forward with that. So I don't know if I want to call this chapters or like lessons or something else like that. Um, I'm calling it chapters right now. And so these are like, okay, we have like the trailer to the course, we have the introduction. Um, Now, perhaps, I don't know if I want to call it a are you really out of it, but don't we have a U course? Yes, we have a U course on YouTube. This is going to be the U course that goes into the LMS. And so it's going to be updated, it's going to be new. And this is going to include potentially YouTube. Yeah, you get it, Uncle Scientist. Also, good morning. Um, yeah, it's gonna be like a new and updated one, and so I need to create articles for them too, which I don't have articles for any of these right now. We just have those YouTube videos, which I may or may not use the YouTube video for it, but I probably want to re-record it because uh, just to be more in line with like to actually reference the LMS and that kind of stuff. So it's probably gonna get a lot probably have to do a lot more for this one. Plus, I want to be this less of a pure introduction to you and more of just you. Or maybe a better way to put it would be this would be like so this is gonna be working title obviously. We're gonna do U core 0.2. It's like the things that you need for basic like like core U. So I'm probably not going to include server side rendering because for like you don't need this for core U. But that could be like a fast follow or some kind of like follow course like that just does that and only that. Like what are the things that we really just need for this itself? Okay, so um I want to get into like the domains and skills first, but like the beginning part of the course are usually all the same. We want a trailer, we want some kind of introduction. I want some kind of gate that like for prerequisites. So a prerequisite like skill gate. So what would that be? So this means that I want something like you know how to use like the following skills, or like you've read through like the first four chapters of the book, or something like that. I don't know if I actually want to like test them, or if it's just a self like a self understanding type thing. So that could be interesting. Then I think we would just sort of get into it, right? So then let's go into our domain skills, and then that will sort of go into the chapters too. The idea here is I'm gonna use a new method that I've learned since the last course that I did. Talking to one of my education mentors, they had an excellent analogy. Maybe I think it's an analogy, not a metaphor, but maybe it is. Um, I'm too tired to think about which one it is. Uh, we're gonna use basically just like jerk based planning here, uh, which isn't a real thing, and just sort of making up that name for it. The idea would be, okay, imagine that somebody went through this course and they went on Reddit and then said, "Oh my gosh, I took this course. This is like the best course ever, and I now know you." And so at that point, everybody's going to descend and say, "Oh, really? You know you, do you? Well, did the course teach you about this?" And so maybe that would be something like, "Did they teach you about routing?" And it's like, "Yeah, they did. Taught me about routing, and specifically like how to like create a router. Uh, I learned how to use oh, what is it, like query parameters? So handling query parameters. I learned about how to do all these different things, like, and then eventually they get to like the edge, and it's like, well, did they teach you server side rendering? It's like, well, the course mentioned it, but it did, that's out of scope for the course. It's like, okay, fair. That's not something that everybody needs with you. And but if they find something and the person doesn't know that, but they really should, then that's on me. That's my fault for not teaching that, or at least not teaching it well. Because in some cases it could also be, well, like, did they teach you this? It's like, yeah, I taught you that. Okay, well, show me how to do it. And it's like, I don't know how to do it. And it's like, well, then I didn't really teach you, did I? So that's the plan here, is we're gonna figure out this stuff. So I don't know if I'm gonna do routing right away for it. Um, my thoughts on this, because it's also my first time looking through this, and I don't have my book. Is my education book down here? My education book is not down here. So I have an education book I was reading through, um, understanding by design, or design to understand, or something about understanding, and super fascinating book, and it really really like talks into going into these domains, which are actionable and testable skills. That's where I'm going for here. And to do that, normally you get some kind of like statement from like an educational authority. That is me. So I get to create those statements today, which means I need to figure out what this is. Um, so let's do. I guess like we could look through here now. I don't think I want to do server side rendering on this, because I don't want to require backend knowledge. And that's the main reason of not doing server side rendering. But that could be a future course. So HTML macros, so like writing HTML in Rust, but that let's see. So like using the HTML macro, I don't know if that's like a skill necessarily. Yeah, let's just go into the docs. We'll just go straight from there. So I think we're gonna have like domain statements would include things like spin up a hello world app. So like um so I can create a hello world app, which obviously doesn't really do much for me, but is like part of these things. Uh so that would include installing, and so then based upon this, come down here, we say, okay, well we might have like a like introduction or getting started maybe. And that's gonna be um installing. So we assume that you've already installed Rust. Now we want to install like the WASM. So install WASM and trunk. So installing prerequisites. So installing tools to compile Rust. So to compile Yew. Creating a, which is really probably just part of, yeah, installing the tools and then creating a hello world. Maybe we'll just call it hello world. I don't think I need to care about going through these other options. I think I'm going to focus on these. They also seem to be the community suggested ones too. See, build the sample app. I mean, we could build the sample app, but I don't necessarily think that I need to do that. I guess one prerequisite. So prerequisites here. I want to make sure you have the right version of Rust. So like installed, like tools installed. Tools installed. That'd be latest Rust, probably. Off the like, how about this Rust version? That, and I'll come back to that right at the last second. We'll throw that in there. Um, uh, Richard Keep, hello and welcome. How are you doing today? So, view, we got that. Okay, examples, where to go find them. I don't think we need to worry about that. Editor setup. Okay, so that's gonna be part of this too. So, editor setup for programming Rust. There's a lot of Rust beginner tutorials that start off with installing the toolchain, which, you know, if you've done it once, yeah, exactly. So I'm thinking instead of teaching them here, it's just a skill gate. It's more of like a yes or no question. Do you have this version of Rust installed? Yes or no? Do you have your editor set up for Rust? And then if it's no, here's like one of the 1,000 different art. Yeah, go read those. Like they're really good. They're kept up to date. Go do that there, and then come back. So I, part of the reason for like the LMS is that I can move over and do that. Just have like go send you to some place that like does it if they do it better than me. Oh yeah, Uncle Scientist videos are great, or at least the VODs. I watch the VODs. I mean, I'm distracted when I watch them, so I don't know if I like, sort of like watching Twitch streams. I'm like doing other things while I'm watching them. The advent of code video, the advent of code stuff is like I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. So watching Uncle Scientist do that is pretty awesome. And it inspires me a lot. I'm like, I'm gonna go do that, and then I just fall flat on my face. I need to like spend time practicing that, and then maybe we can do some more. Maybe we can do some of those. Oh, interesting. I didn't realize they had a section for creating templates. I don't think we're gonna do that because like I don't think anybody would care. It's like, hey, did you create a template? And it's like, no. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Um, Support for the HTML macro. Huh. So the Rust U expansion Emmet support should work out of the box. Really? Hmm. Emmet included languages, Rust. Oh, okay. So I didn't realize that they had that. Um, I don't know if this is all that necessary though, because I don't think we're gonna get anything. I don't think anybody would care necessarily about this. Just more of like, hey, did you set up your editor for it? That's what we care about. So editor setup for programming Rust. You're literally learning Rust by watching his videos. Though I feel they're way advanced for your level. I mean, you'll get there. As long as they're not like preventing you from like getting really excited about Rust. I think that's fine. You learn Rust by doing advent of code, so you're coming full circle. Well, perfect. That sounds like excellent. All right. We have the basics obviously. So we have HTML. So this would be our first sort of thing is we have the basics. So that would be maybe like a chapter basics. So this would be using the HTML macro to create. It's like what do you want to create? To create a component, to create a like HTML tag. Like how would I know? I guess that's the other thing with a domain. I need to know if you've mastered it. Like, and by mastered, it's like, can you use this in a way that I have not necessarily directly shown you? Can you like figure out something to do with it? So using the HTML macro to create HTML nodes or tags. It's not really creating the tags either. It's going to be just to create I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like HTML macro, using the HTML macro in a Yew component. We'll come up with like definitions for like what these mean later when we create the articles and then the assessments for those too. All right. So then for basics for that, we need to basically do like the HTML macro. And then potentially we want to, so we have the HTML macro. I don't know if we need anything else with that. You don't really have it here, but um, fragments. So fragments. which I think would be part of using the HTML macro. You need to be consistent and start writing at least a few lines of code daily. You prefer we create a to-do app instead of just a hello world one, something with a CRUD functionality, some CSS style, put on a live like Tailwind. Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. This would be literally like the first lesson of like, hey, let's get something on your screen. It's actually something I've learned from when I was doing in classroom teaching. We need to get like in the first part of a course, you need to have like a really fast win, like something that you get on your screen like instantaneously, like super fast. That's almost always the Hello World app. But once you get that, you sort of get the ball rolling. We can have a project, which is like that to-do app, which I use a to-do app inside of the uh, YouTube course. I don't know if I'll do a to-do app for this one. I might do just something more front end. Okay. CSS with classes. And you know what I want to do in here is like just note down little skills that sort of like add on to this. So this would include fragments. So including fragments. I don't know. It looks kind of weird. CSS with classes. Okay, so we want to use the classes macro. So this would be attach classes to an HTML node tag. So under basics, we have CSS. This might be just like not CSS. It would be the classes macro. So classes macro. Inline styles, we probably also want to do just a short one on inline styles. I have attack. Carlos, hello. Also welcome. How are you doing today? Inline styles. Okay, so inline styles. So this can possibly be also like a hey, when do you want to do this as part of there. Now, do I want a domain about like why you don't want to use inline styles very often, or like to sort of like explain when that might be a good one. So I would like anybody who takes this course to be able to describe when to use inline styles, and then also describe when to avoid inline styles, because that's kind of it. Inline styles to me are something that you can start using really easily and then just get a bad habit. You just start doing them all the time, and the next thing you know, you have inline styles everywhere, everything sucks, and it's really hard to sort of start moving away from them. JS with RS. Okay, so I don't know if this would be basics or not, but I want to build a pull in code, pull in, I guess like JavaScript. Call. Okay, so call JavaScript from Rust using um, it's Wasm Bindgen. Yeah, Wasm Bindgen. I don't think this would be under basics. I think we're gonna put this under like maybe JavaScript, like a JavaScript section. So I want two things for this to really sort of like know what that is, which is we want to call I want to call my own JavaScript. So like call our own JavaScript. Using, so I guess it might be like even an introduction to Wasm Bindgen. Wasm Bindgen. And then it would be like using Wasm Bindgen to call like a library. That might be more of an assessment type thing. So um, call our own code. So own code using calling own. Why did I do this? I want JavaScript using Wasm Bindgen. Call library using Wasm Bindgen. You found another CSS library from the Leptos documents. Interlude styling. This one compiles CSS into a CSS folder instead of the one you use, which adds it to the Wasm binary, which can cause bloat issues. Wait, so that one can cause bloat issues? I do like stylist because, as you said, it just puts it into the folder, and then I'm just sort of pulling it out. Is that true? I don't remember anymore. Now I'm questioning my reality. And then stylers. Ooh, stylers sounds. I mean, it sounds good. So name wise, I like the name. Okay, WebSys. Okay, so WebSys is interesting. So for this, I want to. And I'm sometimes like right now I'm wondering, is there really that value of me creating the chapters right now? Or do I want to wait until I have the domain set up? Then I go through each domain at a time to sort of create what I'm going to do down here. Because I think like the course really is just going to be making sure that I hit all the domains that we're going for. All right, so I want to use WebSys to convert types from one to another. That's what I really remember. Basically, at first, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna just get rid of you. Just gonna do domains. Okay, so for you, we're gonna use WebSys to convert to type. Why did I suddenly forget the word for translate, transfer? Um, why am I forgetting the name for this when I'm converting one type to another. Casting. That's it. Okay, so I can cast a sort of like one of the U types. So like a U element to a web sys element. Yeah, I know that it was not any of those things that I was thinking of. Um, Now this one is showing, okay, so we can like get like the window object. I want to um there's not like I don't know if there's a real reason to like show that I can get the window object. I don't think anybody cares about just getting it. I think it's like for a specific purpose that you get it. And I'm trying to think about like why do I want to necessarily do that? Um I do know that I want to do something like log. So like log to the console. So log to the console. I want to log to the console. I want to so like log into the console. I want to send requests. I want to do those type of things. I think we'll get into that a little bit later here. Um, let's continue on. Wasm bind gen. So I have like run my own code, which is going to be essentially doing this type of stuff. Wasm bind gen features. So this is going to be important, which is I want to be able to convert or like I want to run code in a promise. So run async code as a promise in here. I always do spawn local. I've never really found the need to like explore and do these too much for it. Yeah, it's like this is the best way to run a feature in Rust without sending it to JavaScript. That's kind of what I want to do. Okay, so WebSys features. So I don't know if I want to like teach inheritance, like JavaScript inheritance. I think like one of the big benefits is that we don't need to do that. Oh, let's see. This has inheritance by calling deref until the value is JS value. I don't really need to do that. I think it would be more of okay, so the node and node ref. It's referring to the node. Um, that comes in with a U node ref, but if I remember correctly, like actually getting that was significantly harder than it needed to be. Usually it would be like on an event, and then um I would just do like event.target, and then I could cast that target into the type that I wanted to get. Yes, this unchecked into is that cast. That's the really important one. Um, they're running like the WebSys console. I like to run the glue console. especially since I don't have to do this like log one. I just use the log macro, which I like a lot. Let's see, external libraries. I don't think I need to worry about that right now. Okay, so let's go to components. All right, so we have the struct components and we have the function components. So we can create a struct component. We can create a function component. With struct components, I mean, a lot of documentation still uses struct components, although most of it now here has switched to function components. And I've noticed that the number of questions that like pop up in the Discord, like the U Discord, is a lot. There's a lot less of the struct component ones. It's like, no, yeah, I can totally use like U hooks or function hooks. So this is gonna be interesting. I think it might be good to know that you're using the virtual DOM because there's other frameworks out there that don't use the virtual DOM. And do I need to have like the student be able to describe what the virtual DOM is and really like in reality you need to know what the repercussions of using the virtual DOM are. Like the very basic ones are that it's slower. It's a lot slower than using pretty much any other system for manipulating the DOM. But it solves problem to make it easier for the framework to manipulate the DOM, especially if it's not doesn't have like direct DOM access. So, I mean, there's a reason why like React started using it before really good like non jQuery things were going. But nowadays virtual DOM is like only used by like React essentially and Vue and some of the other ones. But I'm not completely sure that you need to defend yourself about this. Perhaps I'll leave this and then if if some if it like gets talked about, we can add it into the course later. Properties. Okay. So I want to pass properties in. Exactly. Yeah. More and more frameworks are moving away from the VDOM. It's kind of harder to actually find new ones that still use it. Oh yeah, new ones should never use it. Absolutely. Like you it's interesting that you made the decision to do it, and I'm kind of still hoping that like before they do a big like 1.0 were released, they rip out their rendering system and like switch to something different. Uh, but they're also pretty far into development, and I could see them deciding not to do that. Okay, so we can pass data to components using properties. You think use main goal is copying the React rendering system one to one? I mean, yeah, I guess that it makes sense, but at the same time, I kind of feel that React is starting to lose a lot of market share when it comes to front end frameworks, and copying them at their height may not. I don't know. Like it's not a decision I think I would make. Then again, like when did you start coming out? Did it start coming out like how many years ago was that? Because like maybe it wasn't at their height. Maybe it was like when they were the only choice, really. Yeah, we can go take a look at GitHub here. Let's go find the first commit. 2,453 commits. It would be great if I could like sort reverse, but I don't think that's a thing. Oh no. I don't see any. Wait, is there something I can do to get older? Plus 139? Plus 174? Okay, plus like 500? Plus 1,000? 1,500? Or maybe like 2,000? How about like 5,000? Okay. Oh, I was hoping it would like be earlier. Let's do 2,500. Okay, so not that. Cut that in half, 1,250. Okay, so between 25 and 1,250. So let's do math. Math is hard. Halfway between 25 and 1,250 is I know they don't have an easy way to do this. What's halfway between 2,500 and 1,250 is like a 700 1875. Thank you, Uncle Scientist. 75. Okay. I wonder if it's like close now. If I can just it's going up by like 45 at a time, which is horrific. Going up by 50 to is that 35 at a time? Okay. See 25. Yeah, 2017 inch. Isn't that old yet? No, we're in 2018. Okay, 2,200. 2,300. Oh, we were closer to 2,500 than I thought. 2,400. 20. I did do 2,500, right? Yeah. Okay. So 2,450. Ooh, we found it. Okay. So December 16th, 2017. So the very end of 2017. And it did start with a minimal prototype right there. So it was in development privately before this for an unknown amount of time. No, it isn't that old. I think see, I'm trying to think now. Okay, so Gatsby had come out recently. It was starting to make huge waves. What else was really big at that time? Like Vue and Angular were competing for second place. React had pretty much just fully won by this time. React was just pretty much coming out on top because Angular Angular and the Angular 2 thing was still a big deal at that time. It was like, oh, should we even do Angular 2? I don't know. And then it was like this. That was their moment where they Angular sort of lost everything. So I guess it makes sense to go after React at that point in time. There wasn't really that much of other stuff to go on yet. I think everything was sort of private, like privately be worked on at that time. So it makes sense. All right. Passing data using okay, so passing data using properties. Now I want to perhaps also describe when a component will re-render. Something else that I plan on using for this, which might help sort of like understand my thought process of like why I'm going much more in depth, is I want to do something kind of similar to what CJ did with React Roots, and I'm gonna put this out there for like, yeah, you can solo go through this, but also you can pay a little bit more, and we'll do like a not necessarily in person class through, but more actual live instruction and help out type things. I want to explore that, and then this will help out a lot with that. Okay, so we have the derive macro. So properties. Okay, yeah. So we can create properties to take in. Okay, so that's pass data components using properties. I guess like we have passing data in. We have describe when the component will render. I also want to, for properties, I want to like capture properties and use them. If we were copying CJ, does that mean we can get a Denver IRL stream? I do not have the equipment for that. I, I, I asked CJ what is needed for that, and also just looking at the other IRL streams, it's a lot. He has an entire backpack that he does stuff with. Maybe I would just cheat and just hang out with CJ and be on his stream for the IRL version, and then I'll just, I don't know, restream him. That would be like my entire thing is just being lazy and cheating, as much as possible. So that's what I would do. But then that wouldn't be me going live on it, would it? Okay, so let's see. Pass data to components using properties. We want to be in the other side, so we want to take in. So take in data. Take in properties to a component. I guess like to a struct component. And then take in properties to a function component. Using, okay, so function components, we take in those. That's great. Okay, the field attributes. The first time I looked through this and we did the other course, I didn't notice these, and these are huge. So I think that we definitely want to be able to cover these ones. So proper default, proper value, prop or else. So this is all about what I want, like initializing or like setting like a default. So use the property derive fields. Is it derive fields? Yeah, field attributes. I think I can do that one. That would be all three of these. Okay, so memory speed overhead. Oh, this is another big one. I missed this too, which is why my course doesn't use attribute value when it absolutely should. So that's another reason like I want to redo it now. We want to use attribute value because it's a memory counted, it's a smart pointer essentially. And if we use this, we don't have to do as many. Well, cloning is cheaper and faster. So taking properties and sort of like data type, um, use attribute value instead of strings when passing um, in for properties. The props macro. Okay, so I've never used the props macro. I've always just done that. What's the big difference here? What do we care about it? Allows you to build properties the same way that HTML macro does it. The macro uses the same syntax as a struct expression, except you can't use attributes or a base expression. The type path can either point to the props directly or to the associated properties of a component. Oh, so basically I can use this to create a props, and then I can essentially spread this out. This is not called spread in Rust. It's what is that called? I forget what this is. What the two dots are. It's not dereferencing. It's something else, right? I haven't used them very much. I probably should, especially like I don't know, like I go back for it. I don't actually like this pattern in React. Like everybody does it. I don't like it. It's a little bit too it's not explicit enough for me. Use it when you're destructuring. Okay. Yeah, so it's part of basically I'm destructuring these out into their component parts to pass into hello world to then go out here. So the props, so pre-made props is this object that has oh, okay, I get it. So you're creating this props here. The only reason I can do this props here is because I have access to it here, so I need to like use a use statement or something. I think that they're trying to do the same thing that you would do in React, which would be spreading, and spreading is kind of like destructuring out into their component parts. So if it's an array, it destructures to an array type thing, and if it's an object, it destructures to like key value pairs. Um, is that true, or can I only do that with arrays? I know, forget that. Hold on, let's take a look. I want MDN spread operator. Yeah, so it's very similar with this. That's just taking an array and then you get the specific things. Okay, so it can be used on objects and arrays. Oh, right, we can use it with objects to sort of get out other things and everything else is just captured in this object. I think that's what it's used for. I can't do this because it doesn't know what it wants to do with it. So I can do it in Rust. It would be dot dot instead of dot dot dot. I think people would want to use this simply because this is super ubiquitous. What is okay? I need to find out exactly what that is. And I don't remember. Rust dot struct, like, or I guess like object name. Like, what are you? What is that syntax? Is it attributes? I could wanted to say I could. Wait, no, I want yet. Oh, I've lost my play dot. There you go. I don't know why. Every time. Okay, let's create a struct. We'll do. So we have a struct. This is my test. We have a pub a is a, I don't know, it's a thing. So like I64. Ooh, okay. Subslice pattern. It's more for my struct foo dot dot dot. Oh yeah, I've used that with default. That's what I've done it with. I've used that with default. But what is it called? Is it the, okay, so it's the subslice pattern. Permit matching subslices and sub arrays with the syntax dot dot. Binding a variable to the expression matched by a subslice pattern can be done using a syntax, blah, 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 dot, dot, blah, blah, blah. Okay, motivation, that's great. The form is already used for the rest of the list, so it's basically going to be that. Okay, so we can do matching for like subslices. Now, how about reference level? Now about, how about, oh, it doesn't talk about objects. So if I have pub A, is that pub B is I64 also? Now, obviously, like one I can do is like the dot dot default if I implement default myself on this. Now, I can't remember if I can like extract out. So if I do something like let my test equals my test. Yeah, drive default is the one, pretty much the only area I've seen this in. Do I is 1, B is 2. Now, if I wanted to create another one, so could I do something like let another test is like, I don't think I can do that, right? And like destructuring in another language might be something like give me A and B, right? But I don't think I can do that here. And then I would just debug A and B. You should fail, I would assume. Oh, let my test A be. Oh, okay. So it can create a new one like that. But without the dots. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I can use the dots in this though. Because I don't think this won't work either. Interesting. It's like a dot end. I think though that I could do something like this. Let another test equals my test like that. I think I could do that. Just take in the contents of test and put it into my test. And then I want to debug another test. Oh yeah, I need to derive debug. Yeah, that works. Okay. So, and if I wanted to just take in like B only, I could do, I think A is going to be like 5, and then I want everything else in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So that's how we can use it. So it's essentially getting the rest of my test that's not already being gotten, if it makes sense. But it's the subslice pattern. Ooh, okay. Let's take a look at this. Do you have a better name for me? Dot 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 dot. Struct literal update syntax. But also and the rest pattern binding. Okay, I think this is what I want. The and the rest pattern binding. This is such a non-name name. No wonder I can't remember it. Okay, so I want to pass in all values. Well, so like I need to create, I can only do the, okay, the next test. Let's say we have this my test here. If I have a completely separate type, but it has the same things in it. So let's say I have you, copy you, put you here, my test, but different. You're also an A and B. You're exactly the same, except you're technically different. Oh, Gillian's Island? Was that Gilligan's Island? I never watched it. I'm aware of it though. And the rest. The Gilligan operator. Maybe we could, maybe, or just to be like glib on it, it's just the lost on the island operator. Um, but yeah, Gilligan operator could be good, except that's like a reference that only you'd only get if you've ever watched the show, and it was like an American show from how long ago? This is a 60s show, right? That's a long time. All right, so I'm creating a my test here, and now I want to create a my test but different here, and I just want to copy all of test, and then we print out. Yeah, okay. So it has to be the same type. Okay, it has to be the same type. That's good to know. So um uh the only reason, like I almost feel like the only reason to do this props macro is in order to do this. There might be some stuff. I don't know. You got to get ready for surgery. Enjoy the rest of your. Well, thank you so much, and good luck with the surgery. Hopefully everything goes well, and yeah, we'll see you on Monday. Have a good surgery. Have a good recovery. Oh, but it is Monday. You're right. I'll see you on, I guess, in a full week next Monday. It's a long recovery. I'm not convinced that we need the props macro. I'm just gonna skip it. Evaluation order. Oh, take your phone, watch streams on bed after surgery. That's a really good. That's a really good idea. Also, hello, the real Enrico. You're missing a few weeks now. Oh, a full week. Okay. Yeah, your boss won't be happy. Well, it's just things you have to do. If it's, Monday to Monday, it's, you got to do what you got to do. Evaluation order. Props are evaluated in order they're specified as shown by the following example. Now that's okay. So this is interesting. The props macro is order matters in a struct because it's not like a class where the order doesn't matter. Like in a struct, it will keep its order. So yes, that's fine. So order matters and they're evaluated in the order they're specified. Which I'm not exactly sure how that affects things. Anti-patterns. Using a string type instead of attribute value. Using interior mutability. I see this all the time. People suggesting, hey, just use refcell, use mutex or something else like that. It's it causes issues. Yeah, specifically here with re-renders because like the underlying type, like the overall type hasn't changed at all, so therefore it doesn't know to re-render. You tell us. Did you run into an edge case? Um, I'll have to keep that in mind. I think when I run into things, I forget that I could go and like PR documentation changes in. It's pretty basic. You have a rare disease that requires surgery once every 6 months, so you're used to it now. Oh, I'm sorry about that, but also I'm glad that it's like become routines. That means it's probably safe, or at least safer than like a more unknown surgery. So, well, I mean, regardless, good luck, and we'll see you. We'll see you on Monday. All right, so we have our props there. Callbacks. Okay. Callbacks is stuff to like send into the DOM. So really this is going to be about events. So handle events, handle DOM events. So I want to be able to handle DOM events. I mean, that's really it is. Like if you can handle a DOM event. Now, is there specific DOM events that I really care about here? I think you have. There's a list of them later, and we can like maybe pick and choose some of them that we really want to care about. Children. Special type prop. Okay, yeah. Children I think is really important to handle. So I want to create a component that uses children. Pretty much that. Now, something that I don't think is really mentioned here, but I think is a really powerful pattern in Vue is the in Vue they call them slots, and so we can maybe create optional slots to sort of use here. I don't think that there's an idea of them in Vue because it would be under children. Maybe advanced ways to handle children. It's like type children, enum children. No, it's just like optional typed child. I guess this would be it. Is just like this is like the equivalent of a slot. So I'll leave that. Peer components. Function components can appear when return HTML to determine props. Okay, so don't know if I need to like explain what a peer component is, but maybe I do because like that might be one of those like, hey, do you know what a peer component is? And they may use them, like the student uses them, but they don't necessarily know how to define it. Okay, so maybe this would be like describe what a peer component is. Okay. And in this case, it might be more of like create a peer or like recognize a peer component or not. I don't know. Maybe describe why um, describe when to use a peer component and impure component. Something like that. So I'm going to use an impure component. Is it impure? That does not look right. But I think that's the correct spelling for it. Um, Carlos, hello. Zellige, yeah, we're using Zellige here. Okay, so we've gotten down to this page. I'm going to go ahead and copy you. So we are currently here. I'll just do currently at that. don't remember. I don't think it's going to recognize this and let me use it. Is it better than Tmux? I would say yes for my use case. I never really used all the features of Tmux, and then before Tmux, I have actually a lot more experience with Screen. Um, and again, like I use Screen as basically just okay, start sessions, close sessions, use stuff like that. I've not used Zellage in sort of its more advanced states. Multiplayer is sounds like it's going to be pretty amazing once I start like playing with that, but I don't have a reason yet. Um, but yeah, so far to me, I like it a lot more. I generally like things in which I have to do less configurations and then it just works out of the box. And so far with Alacrity and um, Zellage and Helix, I'm getting that out of those. Uh, that being said, there's still some like weirdness that we get with like for example with Tmux, I believe you can just the pass through is something that happens kind of sort of automatically, or at least you can press the key again to like do pass through. I think with Zellage, if I want to do pass through of key commands, like for example, let's go over here. Alt arrows is moving me back here. If I need the Alt key to like be inside of the code, I need to do Control G to lock Zellage, and now I can do Alt, and it does the appropriate thing. So slight differences. It's not really good or bad. It's just different. All right. I think I am gonna go ahead and end it for right now. Yeah, Zellage is pretty cool. I like it a lot. These are we get these for default up here, and my layout, which includes all of like these tabs too, and like their setups, they're all in. They're all in here. So I get this default tab template, which says, hey, every tab is going to get one of these things. And then I just say, okay, here's my dot files. So that's what it looks like. So I can do like the split directions. I can then create new panes. I can set a current working directory for it, which unfortunately there's a bug right now in Zellage where I can't use environment variables, which really sucks. Uh, so therefore, when I use it in one profile to another profile, it's like just broken completely. And that's it. Also, I can scroll like it's mouse aware, so like it knows that I'm trying to scroll in this window as opposed to like this one down here, which is also really nice. All right, quit you. Get status. All right, so we are in the middle, like we're work in progress, creating domains. Go ahead and push that up. This is more of a private repo, so you can't go and just sort of look at it right now. I figure like the stuff where I'm gonna be like planning for, then creating the full like articles before I put them into the LMS is gonna be in here, and then we'll just sort of go back and forth and sort of figure things out. So I don't know. Like if I have time, I'll continue working on these outside of streams. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll continue on. So with that, everybody have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back at 7 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow to continue this off. So with that, I will see you all next time. Bye.